Hey guys, happy Sunday. Look, we have little Monroe and she's all naked except a little diaper. So the reason why she is unclothed and hanging out in her little seat is because I want to come on in and draw something very, very important. And I wanted to show her and showcase her because she is my silicone baby in my nursery. And I'm going to talk about what is considered very unpopular of my opinion, but I don't care. I'm going to share what I believe, what I have learned, and what I believe to be factual information from the artist. And this is about bathing your silicone dolls. I know that this may upset even some of my friends because they may disagree with my thoughts on this. It is what it is. I decided to make this video because I watched a video by a fellow collector that I am friends with who has Claire babies. She's got dolls by Arcello. She's got dolls by multiple different artists. And she posted a video yesterday of an Andrea Arcello baby. And I'm not sure who the second doll that she showed that has some damage is by. I'm not sure who the artist is on that one. And she was very upset because she received the Andrea Arcello doll about 2 weeks ago. And I'm not sure Iris Johnson is who this collector is. I'm not sure why she didn't inspect the doll when she got the doll and didn't see that there was some problems with the doll. But the doll is peeling literally all over. Now, she received the doll from another collector who she had stated that she bathed the doll regularly. I don't know how often that was, but silicone dolls, guys, let's just start at the beginning. Silicone dolls just don't break down unless they are a tin silicone doll, which nobody makes dolls with tin silicone anymore. The artists learned their lesson a long time ago that they disintegrate, they fall apart. So if you have a doll that's made by platinum silicone, it's not going to just fall apart. It's not going to start peeling unnecessarily or just randomly have issues unless when it was made it wasn't sealed properly and it wasn't matted properly. And I know that there are definitely artists out there, many artists that have struggled with, paint peeling, matting coming up. Andrea Arcello is one of those artists that I know, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to offend anybody that collects her dolls, but it is a fact that she has had some struggles in the past with her dolls having paint and matting issues. Not all of her dolls, because there's several out there that have never had an issue. Now, there are other artists, even Romy Stridham has had some paint issues more recently with her dolls. Every artist goes through different phases of their creations and making them and things like that. So yes, there are always those out there that may have struggled and maybe they didn't cure properly. Who knows? That's the only time I've ever seen a doll just have an issue. Aside from that, it's usually brought on by how we handle our dolls and the things we do with our dolls, and that's what causes the damage that we see out there on the secondary market. The biggest problem that I am seeing still is that people are bathing their dolls. They're bathing them regularly. They're bathing them once when they get them because they think they're dirty. I don't know the reason behind it. Some people find it cathartic and, they want to treat the doll like a living baby. That's fine and everything, but I strongly feel like the bathing is what is contributing to the high amount of paint and matting issues that people are finding with their dolls. And I have talked to multiple artists over the years, and even more recently I have reached out to a couple of artists because I wanted to get their feedback on what they feel with people bathing their dolls when they get them, treating them like a living baby, and every single one of them that I talk to says they don't recommend bathing your doll. I don't know why they put on their care instructions that, treat the doll like a living baby gently, and you can wash the doll, rinse the doll with water. I don't know why artists who don't think that's a good idea even put that on their care instructions. I'm just going to state that because it's giving collectors the feeling that it's okay to bathe the doll. It's okay to treat the doll like a living baby. These are not living babies. These babies are created with silicone, then a layer of chemicals of paint that must adhere to the silicone, and then a matting agent on top of that layer of paint. So just by putting a doll in water or wetting them, you risk, if there's any type of imperfection, which I have yet to meet a doll that doesn't have some sort of imperfection, especially with matting, especially with their paint. If it's not completely sealed, water will get underneath the layer of matting and it will lift it. And it'll begin the peeling process. And then if you have underneath that layer of disturbed matting an opening for water to get beneath the paint and in between the silicone and the paint, then you start to see peeling of the actual paint. I've seen it. I've seen it on very well-made dolls. And I've seen it happen after people have bathed them. And I know that it's said that if you use something that's gentle enough for a baby, it should be fine for our dolls, like Johnson & Johnson baby wash and this and that. No, these dolls are not babies. If it's safe for a living child, it has nothing to do whether it's safe for a piece of artwork. We have to use some common sense here. You wouldn't take a painting off my wall. I wouldn't take a painting off my wall and then dip it in the tub because it was dusty. No, we wouldn't do that. We lightly dust it. And we try to not create any friction so that it damages the painting. I have very nice artwork on my walls. I am very careful about how I clean them. And I treat my dolls just like I would treat the painting on my walls. They are an investment. They are a piece of artwork. And I get that there are a lot of collectors out there that are going to say in response to this video that it's my doll, it's my money, and I can do whatever I want with it. And that is absolutely true. But I will tell you, when you go to sell your dolls, because most of us collectors sell our dolls at some point in time, you're risking another collector to take on the damage that you caused by bathing your doll. That's what a lot of people don't think about, is that far ahead, even if you don't see damage immediately, sometimes it takes a bit of time. And once you've disturbed or disrupted those layers of matting and paint, and you keep clothing them, taking the clothing off of them, putting clothing back on them, creating friction in that potential spot that you've already created some sort of separation, that is exactly how dolls start to peel and become problematic. And once a doll starts to peel, any artist will tell you it's very hard to stop if it's not repaired immediately. And sometimes it's not repairable in an easy way other than sanding down all the way down to the silicone, which most artists don't want to touch. I know that a lot of the top artists stopped doing any repairs even to their own dolls because it's too much work. They don't have time to do it. So my point in coming on and saying this is that I feel terrible for my friend Iris. She's very distraught. I would be devastated. But it's also a lesson that we want to point out that when we get dolls, whether it be directly from an artist or from another collector, you should really inspect the doll immediately. You know, the box openings are so exciting and we get so excited and it's just wonderful. But after you turn off the camera, if you'd like to do box openings, you do a thorough inspection and do it with a video. Because if you find something and you don't immediately go back to the seller, you don't have a leg to stand on that there was damage done, you can't get your money back. And I think that's the boat that my friend is in right now. She can't get her money back, and she overspent for the doll, according to, she was talking to an artist friend, that she shouldn't have paid what she paid. And I do believe that the seller purposely did not show up close pictures of the doll so that she could try to get away with something. Because once a doll is damaged, a lot of collectors out there try to sneak by the imperfections to a buyer so they can dump the doll. It happens all the time. It's happened to me. It's happened to my friends. It's happening right now with Iris. And I truly believe that the collector knew what she was selling Iris, and she got away with it because I guess, Iris, you didn't inspect the doll immediately, which is a real bummer. And I've said that time and time again, that when you get a doll, inspect it immediately. Even from an artist, I will inspect the doll because sometimes artists don't catch everything. and they will immediately go be sent back and be repaired if there's an issue. That's the only way that most artists will actually do a repair at this point in time on their dolls. So it's just, I will stand by the fact that I don't believe it's ever okay to bathe your doll. I'm sorry if it offends people out there. It's not meant to offend anybody. I'm just seeing such an uptick of dolls that are damaged. It's crazy the amount of damaged dolls. It never used to be that way, because early on when we collected, we didn't bathe our dolls. And we've got a lot of collectors that have come into this community, and they want to treat the doll like a baby. If you treat the doll like a baby, it's not going to last. And it makes me sad, because a lot of the beautiful artwork will be lost over the years because people haven't treated them with care and with caution. And I have stated this for years that I don't believe in bathing. I've never once bathed a single one of my dolls, and I won't. There have been other collectors out there that have tried to say that I secretly bathe my dolls behind the scenes, which is a complete lie, and it's ridiculous. I don't have the urge to feed my dolls. I don't have an urge to do all these things and do drink and wet stuff. I don't have that urge. It's not the type of collector that I am. I enjoy watching people role play, but you also have to take into consideration that the role play may cause issues from overhandling over time. I just don't think that these dolls were meant to be handled on a daily basis and changed on a daily basis, because you're seeing the effects of people doing just that. Damage, a lot of damage, irreparable damage. Now, the one thing I disagree with in your video, Iris, is that your artist friend said that the doll is not repairable. I don't believe that to be the case. I've seen even worse dolls than that. Unless it's tin silicone and it's breaking down, which I don't believe that this doll is made with tin silicone. You can strip the doll completely down to the silicone and start all over. It's just that most artists don't want to bother. It is painstaking, and it's generally not worth it. In the end, the time involved, it just isn't. It's too expensive. It's too time consuming. Nobody has the time to deal with that. They'd rather make a new doll and paint a brand new doll and all of that. And I get that. But it's just sad to me that another doll down, you'll never be able to enjoy the doll. You've basically lost your investment in the doll, which really stinks. And as a collector who still loves to enjoy my dolls, I still have to think about the investment in each doll that I have. So that is why I'm very, very cautious. It's also why I inspect my dolls on a regular basis. So like today, I stripped little Monroe down, right down to her diaper, and then I took off her diaper and I inspected her thoroughly. One other thing I want to talk about is powdering. Powder isn't necessarily the fix-all that everybody wants it to be. Now, I've also heard from different artists that they think that powder is an abrasive, and when people excessively powder their dolls, you're also potentially rubbing the paint, rubbing the matting, and potentially causing some friction there. So anything that's abrasive, and depending on what type of matting powder or Johnson & Johnson's powder, I see people use all types of powder that powder their dolls like crazy. You shouldn't have to powder your doll constantly. There is such a thing as overpowdering. And I've also been told by certain artists that the powder actually dries out the silicone, and you don't want the silicone to get dried out because that causes yet a whole nother set of problems. So excessively doing anything with our dolls, with our silicone dolls, is probably not good for them. So I have yet to have to really powder Monroe. I'm coming up on 2 years of owning this doll. She's almost 2 years old from Claire, since she was created. And I don't powder her. She doesn't need to be powdered. She does look dewy in spots because that's how she was painted and how Claire matted her. She's meant to look dewy in spots. So it's okay that she's not perfectly not shiny. There are spots that are supposed to be shiny in these dolls. Now, I don't know about all other artists, but I can tell you that for sure Claire's latest babies have a dewiness to them, and she does not recommend powdering them. So if you own a Claire Taylor doll, you shouldn't need to powder the doll. If you own several other dolls by other artists, I don't really know what to say. I would say occasionally powder, but be very careful not to over powder, because it still is an abrasive irritant when you powder them and then clothe them constantly. I'm a firm believer that anything that causes friction can cause damage, which is why if I buy a certain outfit and it's a type of fabric that is feels abrasive to my skin, I'm not going to put it on Monroe's skin, because anything that feels like it's any type of abrasive, if it rubs her the wrong way, I'm afraid it will damage her layer, her protective layer of matting, and I don't want to do that. So I'm always looking for very soft things to put on her. You'll notice that I don't put I don't put jeans on her. I have jeggings that are soft cotton, but I won't put like regular jeans that don't stretch. I'm just very careful about even stiff cottons. I'm very careful about, you know, anything like that to put on her. I want it to be soft. I'm going to do everything that I can to preserve this baby and keep her as perfect as the day I got her. And I have yet to find any boo-boos on her. I just inspected her this morning. She has no issues. She has no spots where there's any lifting or peeling of her matting, and therefore her paint is beautifully intact. Like, it makes me feel happy to know that I've done a good job of taking care of her, so that should I sell her in the future, the next mommy will be able to enjoy her for a long period of time. That's always my goal, not just for my enjoyment, but I'm thinking ahead, because I usually do eventually sell my dolls. And I want the next mommy to be able to enjoy the doll as well, and I don't want there to be damage done to it. So that's just something I want people to realize. I'm not saying this because I want people to be offended or tell them they're wrong in doing something. That's not the point of me making this video. This video is to be informative. I have seen over the years what bathing your doll does. It hasn't changed from the beginning of time when they started making silicone dolls till now. It hasn't changed. There's nothing that's changed about the way that they make these dolls that makes it safe to bathe the doll and submerge it in water for any period of time. I don't believe it's a smart thing to do. And if you want to preserve your doll and you don't want something to happen to the paint, don't do it. It's just, to me, it's just not worth the risk. And it's heartbreaking for me to see other collectors having to experience this firsthand. And it's heartbreaking if you've ever gone through it. And I don't want anybody to have to experience that if they don't have to. So that's why I'm sharing with you guys. I'm just trying to help you guys out. It's why I share what I do. It's not because I want people to be like, she's wrong, and want to argue with me. It doesn't really matter. I've gotten my information directly from several top artists, and to this day, they're still saying they don't recommend it. But they will tell you in the second breath, but I know people do it. And I tell them if they're going to do it, just to do water only is the safest way if you really absolutely feel like you have to bathe the doll. But they don't recommend it, guys. Artwork. These are artwork. They're babies. They're beautiful works of art to look like a living baby. They're not real babies. So if we keep that in mind and maybe heed the warning that I'm trying to share with you guys, we'll see less damage done to these dolls in the future. But Iris, my heart breaks for you. I wish there was a good solution. You may want to talk to other artists that might be willing to do a repair on the doll. I don't know. Most artists probably don't want to touch it because she's so bad. It's just a lot of work. It's a lot of work. But my heart goes out to you, and I feel terrible that you're having to go through this. I just never want this for any doll collector to experience. It's gut-wrenching. So anyways, guys, that is my video. I think it's very important. I hope the people out there watching this, whether you're a regular follower of my channel, whether you're a friend, whether you're just someone that stumbled across this video, I really hope that you heed the warning. And the takeaway is, if you really just shouldn't bathe the doll, period. The doll will be a lot better for it in the end. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoy your Sunday. It's a little gray and dreary here today. At least it's not really pouring rain like it was yesterday. Now that I've got that off my chest, I need to find something to put this baby in. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and Monroe and I will see you soon, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.